And hopefully all of this is working. We have this on solo mode. There we go. We have audio. I can see that there. This is Wednesday, May 10th. And this is the Zidim channel. Figure out where the camera is. It's up there. We've been rearranging the house quite a bit. But Wednesday, May 10th, Zidim channel. I'm Richard Murray. And here we're looking at 3D printing and model trains. And I'm still straightening out some screens here, so bear with me one moment. Well, we double check that everything is working. I don't see chat yet. Let's see. Do we have a signal? I'm learning how to double check all this stuff. Make sure I actually am paying attention. Yes, we're live. We're there. And you hear me? Great stuff. And text, yep, it's slowly popping up there, so we do have a chat window. Gee, it's unusual for everything to be working. I shouldn't put my glasses too far away. What's been going on here? I'm not doing 100% the things I was planning on doing today. One of the reasons is, can you see, this is my daughter's printer hiding right behind me. I'll get out of the way for the moment. Wrong side. There. Over on this side is there. It's still hard to see. Is my original Prusa MK2S, and I could print out with it the Prusa logo file, and that worked fine. It did take us a while to get the live Z height. We had a lot of stringing going on. It was pulling apart. It's not supposed to do that sort of thing. But here, I actually, have other cameras for dealing with this sort of stuff. No, it's the wrong one. Here we go. Let's swap over to this camera. So, this is off my daughter's printer, and this is off my printer, and they're almost identical. When I passed them to Brenna, I asked her, okay, which one came off your printer? She guessed wrong, so that's an okay test. We had those. Doing multiple tests of the first layer. Where'd it go? I just had it in my hand before I grabbed another one. Let's see. I had it here. Anyways, I was pulling one apart. Oh, there it is. This was what my first layer started looking like, which is not good. We were looking at the stringer. So spent time adjusting Z height, then got some support through original Prusa Research. I can't say enough of their customer support. It's fantastic. We got things going until we got to there for the first layer. Much better. So we got that out there, and then as I said, we printed out the logos. Then I printed out my first of 3 tries doing the frog. And you can see what's problem there. It was pushed off the print bed. It continued, and you get your bowl of spaghetti, pile of spaghetti afterwards. And so as I said, I tried 3 times. We're up until that point. Oh, it's just silky smooth, just like Brenna's. Very nice. but then we ran into the Pinda probe. And after several attempts of adjusting it, it started failing doing the XYZ calibration. So once again, I went back on with Prusa Research, and they've determined that my Pinda probe is actually faulty, so they've sent me a new one. It's in the mail. So I'm not certain when it'll arrive. With my luck, it'll be, Friday. I'm not going to be around that day, so we'll just have to wait for it to arrive, and then I can go back to adjusting it. And I really want to do that because I have a whole bunch of things to do with the printing. So meantime, I'm going to be doing some with Brenna's printer as she's off trying to get other projects done other than printing. So what else has been going on? I know I'm talking to a blank screen there, but there's a reason for that. I received this in the mail. See if I can get better there. This is off the Form Labs Form 2. So it's an SLA. Now, it's hard to tell, but inside, there, darken it down some. There's a staircase, and the center post of the staircase is a DNA strand, model of a DNA strand. So that's with the resin printer. So that, I'm not looking at getting one of those myself right now, but it is possible. There is a possibility that I'm working with an organization in town who might be adding one of those. Afternoon. Oh, we never get what we planned done. Okay. So it was. I'm interested in that, especially since I'm doing miniatures and model train work, and for that this would be ideal. I don't have it in my budget right now, but we'll see what's going to happen. There's possibilities of getting one of these, getting access to one of those in town anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. So that getting into SLA printing, having to deal with resins, you really have to keep the printer going constantly. So that is an opportunity that we might be able to do that here in town. So that's what's going on there. Now, what else did I have in the news? I was working on the tunnel portal last week, and what do I have on the stream? I have the wrong description here. Let me change the description here. I'll just update this. N scale tunnel portal revisited. The reason I don't have it with me right now is, there we go, changes being saved, is it's actually being tested on another N-scale layout. So it looks like it'll work quite nicely for our museum layout. I'm going to try some different ways of printing it out, but today I'm going to go back into Fusion 360 and add a few things. The museum layout was started in 2007, and since we're not following any particular prototype for the N-scale layout, I want to put a date on there. One of the things about dealing with any modeling is you got to take into consideration where the viewer is going to see it. How's it going to be seen? Is it going to be through photographs? Is it going to be someone walking by? Is it going to be someone in distance? On your layout, is it going to be what we call a foreground object, where people might be able to get their noses up to it pretty much, see all the detail? Or is it going to be a background object where you don't need much detail at all? And you can take that one step further, especially with model trains. There's places on your layouts that you don't see at all. You have the front of a building. There's no way anybody's going to see the back, so you need to do any modeling in the back. Sometimes you just put a plain sheet of plastic back there. If you're dealing with a kit, save all those parts from the kit and use them for something else to kit bash. Or there's another option when you're doing that, is the unseen sides you model with a completely different painting scheme, what have you, and you place a mirror back there, so when people see it, they think there's actually two buildings instead of one. So that will that's the sort of considerations you have to keep in mind. And with the tunnel portal, what I found was all of us have been doing the same thing. We've been looking at it. Okay, that's how it prints, and okay, we have these print lines, and that's just part of the aspect of 3D printing. But then I realized that the closest anyone's going to see this tunnel portal is at an arm's length. No one's going to get any closer to that. And there's some which it's going to be back even further. So what I have to model is for a surface it's going to be seen at that distance, not at this distance. So we will work with that. There's one other project that I'm planning on looking at, and so what I'm going to do here, try to get this arranged properly, and that wasn't proper. The Dremel Idea Builder. Yes. There we go. And the Ono is the phone-based ones. Jury's still out with me on that one anyway. Come on. What I see with the Ono, first of all, it was a long time coming out. They did finally start shipping. My understanding is, this may not be right, that shipping stopped fairly quickly because they were having problems with the electronics of the setup. So it wasn't working right. So I'll wait until I see positive reviews for that one. But the Formlabs would be ideal for the situation we're looking at, being a larger printer, a very solid unit, and we're looking at almost an educational environment. But that's about all I can say at this point for that. We'll be finding out more. And with that, by the way, unfortunately, next week I will not be here. So I will be on course. Come on, where are we? Oh, okay, it is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So here we go. Here's my desktop. The other thing that I want to be modeling is not on that screen. It is on this screen. One of the first buildings I need for my ON30 layout is a milk stop. So this is the Notch Clip station, and this is on Western Maryland history. What do they call it here? Maryland and Pennsylvania Railroad. That's what it is, the Historical Society. But I need to make one of these stations. And the reason I'm going to involve 3D printing for it is this. I don't think I had a better picture of it here, so I'm just going to run with this one. Sorry it's so small. With it, there's a curve to these supports. So trying to see, I believe there's, I was looking at a different picture. They have 3 of these supports in this building. I can see 1, 2, 3, and we have this curve here. So I'm going to model that in Fusion 360. It's straight at the back where people aren't looking, and it is enclosed in the back. It's just enclosed on 3 sides, but the front side has the curve. So I am planning on having pretty much a setup like this, where you have a bit of a decking to it. You have the station itself, and I'm using this, my short little narrow gauge railroad. One of the first stops will be a milk stop, and you may have seen in the past my cattle, and I'll be adding to the cattle herd here, the dairy herd, and so it will be making a milk stop as part of its regular morning run. So hence this nice station. It fits the area and fits my needs. But once again, we got the curves there. Now the other thing I'm going to do with this is, with the curves, I'm going to, or with this station, I will be printing out, 3D printing milk cans. My mom still has 1 milk can left from when they used to have a few dairy cattle. It wasn't a full milk operation, but they had enough that they were able to sell 1 milk can worth, at least. So I'm going to take pictures of that one. I'm going to model that out, and so it's a bit of a family history to go on there. So I'll be printing those for on here. Now the other thing I'm going to try, and I'm looking forward to it, and this is why I'm waiting till I have my printer up and running. And excuse me for a moment. Of course, I muted the wrong one. That's the problem with muting it. You got to make sure you unmute the audio afterwards. So it's a wonderful situation where you can sort of feel a sneeze back there. You don't know if it's going to come or not. There's the link for you for the site. As I said, this perfectly suits the atmosphere for a narrow gauge layout. So once again, this is a standard gauge line, but I'll steal it for the narrow gauge. There's been many wonderful railroads out east, and it's so tempting. It's one of those things where it's very difficult to decide where what you want to model. I'm also a history buff, and I think most model railroaders are. There are people that model current railroads, but a lot of us are looking into the history of the area that we're modeling. So the main town on my layout is Henryville. It's V-I-L-E, Vile at the end, and that is supposed to be Ville, 2 L's. And some clerk somewhere along the way left that 1 L off when the name was being registered. And rather than getting it corrected, the city fathers of the small town said, no, we'll leave it there and we'll work it in and it'll make our town, people will remember it. And they were right. It did get them noted in the history books. Getting remembered, well, I can't remember the proper name of the place, but it was down by Gettysburg. It was in that general area. And they just put the story out that when their town was founded, the town founders, the city fathers, could not afford the extra L. So that's why they only had the one. So I have Henryval as my first main town. But there's another place that I got onto, and I'd have to hunt down the links for it. But it was done during the Depression. One of the make work projects was the government hired photographers and architects to go through areas along the east side, east coast, and document historical homes. So these are places that were considered to be historical at the time of the Depression. So many of them are long gone now. But there's fantastic information there. Some places they get down to what the floorboards were like. Just amazing work. It's a great resource. I don't have it as an actual website. Here, I'll just have a quick look on here. So if you're looking for information for let's see if this is it. Yes. Make sure it's the right one. I'll get into one of these. These are the sites. Oh, this one I can't open TIFFs directly. Okay, well, open with. We'll see if we got the right one, and I will. Yeah, no Welsh stations there. Oh, that one didn't help. So let's close this one. But this is some of the data sheets that came in from the site. Wait for this to pop up. Okay, photographs. So this is just cover sheets for it. TIFF. Here. Oh, it's Photoshop. Photoshop elements. There we go. And we just have technical sheets on this one. So what else do we have there? Yeah, this data sheets. Let's go up one. Oh, that's because I was in data. Here's the photographs. What do we have here? Uh, 60, 150. These are details of, do we have any high resolution ones? There we go. And there's your link to this site. So within this site, and it's just, as I say, it's not a website. It's just an area where these images are stored, and there are probably thousands of images in here. Many of them have not been published, but it's an incredible resource. There's a lot of waiting to do, but fantastic detail. So here we have cars. It looks like we have rail storage there as well. Well, it's a working yard. Is it trucks off in the distance? Fantastic information. Let's go up. 75. Cupola. If this is the one I'm thinking of, this might be an amazing site. This is not what I was planning on covering. This is, let's go into the data. Can you see what it is? Photographs, reduced. Queen City Hotel and Station in Cumberland, Maryland. So I've seen many photos of this in various railroad publications. We're looking at the outside. We have these detail sheets here. I'm just getting the smaller ones. There we go. Now this cupola shows up in a lot of photographs. And the fascinating thing is with this one here, well, we have some gutter, we have trims. This building was torn down. Look at the detail here for under the roof. If I go further down here, we get inside with these photographs. So you're actually seeing the trim around the doors, what sort of wallpaper they had. And at one point, oh, there it is being torn down. One of the main rooms, ballroom, the chandeliers. See, there's only 2 bulbs in there. No, there's 1 bulb down here. Wainscoting. It's amazing detail. Now, there's an area here where you actually get to see inside the structure of the cupola. Here's the train station, baggage carts. Look at the wrought ironwork around the edging here. Sorry, I'm zooming through this fairly quickly, but I'm looking for a specific shot. And I can't tell by, look over the doorway. Now this is a filled-in doorway at this point in time. We're back to it being torn down. And aerial photo. This is why it's great to model. It was right up against a turnpike. So you could have this right up against a wall, what have you. I wouldn't do it no scale, but HO be wonderful. And I think I've seen some pictures of it modeled in a reduced state. So you're at a yard and you can have everything passing through the wall at this point and have this tucked right in. Be a very useful model that way. Variations on that. There is one showing, I just have to remember how this is put together. They are sets of 3. The inside of the staircase, inside of the attic below the cupola, where you can actually see the staircase going up within it. So bear with me. See if we get there. There's another one I came across. There's a fireplace. Which was a building that had a railroad tunnel going into the cliff underneath the building. So vines growing up against the building. So inside the courtyard, I guess this would be. And where do we have, what else here? There we go. This is inside the cupola. There's the windows, the ceiling of it. Massive beams in there. Nope. How about the other way? Oh, this should be hallway. Same one we looked at before. So frustrating, so close, yet so far. Pictures from the turnpike. The passenger platform. Nice details on there. If we go back to that one, something I've never seen modeled is extra hosing on the platform for hosing it down. And the big pile of rubble that it became. How many, thickness of the brick walls. Close up of the, this in O scale, we can do something close to that. Show off the wrought ironwork. Beautiful detail. Perhaps larger scale, do something along that line. Here's our main room again. Outside on the balconies. Same shot. Staircases. We're inside again. Oh yes, I can see where I opened that. Oh. And any sets I missed there? I didn't have this one. Oh, here we go. With luck. There we go. That's the picture I was looking for. So that's there's an enclosed staircase inside of this, inside the attic. So I thought this was a very, very cool shot. So as it leads up to the cupola. This is something you don't see in most modeling magazines or publications, to see what the insides actually look like. So that was an aside, just something I came up across. There's another place that they photographed, and it had a very cool staircase as well. This was a house. From the den, there was almost like a secret passage going up to the reading room. The stairs and the package were what they call captain stairs, where you had a half step for your left foot and up a little bit, a half step for your right, and so on and so forth up. So it's a very steep staircase, once again with only a step from one foot or the other. So that was embedded into the walls. And I haven't a clue how to work that into any models, but who knows? We'll see what we'll do with that. Anyways, here we are. I have Fusion 360 open again. Or opening again. I guess I can turn this off. Free up some resources. And I should have had this up earlier so I could just pop it up. So I don't know if we have a host. Doesn't look like we have a host yet for this Friday's Friday night get together. Unfortunately, can't be us. I'd love to do it again. We'll just have to wait and see. We're just life's a little bit chaotic right now. The other thing with this, yeah, it looks better now. I had to dump a lot of light into this room because the sun is shining into the side window here. Even though I have it blocked off, the side of my face was still super hot for the lighting. And that was, it's planting season out there. I have 6 new garden beds that trying to get going. I have a young fellow coming over to help me this afternoon because he can handle a wheelbarrow full of topsoil. That'll be his job. I can't do that. Looking forward to getting that stuff into the ground, to get the seeds into the ground, get stuff growing. The strawberries are buds on them. My plum trees, they eventually become prunes. Plum trees are in full flower. So I think that's a few of us are dealing with getting into garden season on top of our regular hosting duties. We do try to make content on top of this as well. So Fusion 360, as you can see, is firing up. So here we are. Yeah, I was leaving Fusion 360, let it get going up there. That's updating itself right now. There we go. So here we have our Fusion 360 screen. We start off blank. I'm going to start working on a model I had already, namely the tunnel portal. So on our upper left-hand corner, we have the model window. Open that up. That's not what I was looking at. Further up, data panel. That's why I am modeling. But here's the data panel. There's all our things we've been working on, various designs I have. This will be going into a maker coin. This is my logo. Various spinner designs I started with. This is a project that I have coming up, and that they call them pen rings. And a pen ring is goes over your index finger here, and it has a holder for a pen. So when you can't hold a pen, you can grasp it through one of these and you write pretty much like holding a mouse. Various greenhouse parts. And I started something for songology. We'll have to see what that's like. Anyways, I'm working on this one. I'll get it loaded up. As I said, the test fit on the... put those away. The... don't want to do that. Not doing a whole. I want to go to the front. It seems to be busy doing something right now. Wondering if it's still doing an update. There. So yes, it does have things. I haven't gotten into building things. I don't know what's happening here with this bar. I did get, I do have to wait. If I look up top, it tells me it is still updating. So I have to sit back and wait. I should have opened this up before. So while it's doing that, I might as well talk. There we go. No need to sit there and watch a screen as the system is updating. But I found a couple of problems. I can see one. It's not a print problem. I can see it, the issue right from here, so I'll have to clean that up. That is, I wasn't totally tangent with the edge of the circle when I made the tunnel portal. So these, even though it's an N-scale portal, it is larger than most you see. This is a modern tunnel portal that I designed because it's a display layout, something that we can run anything on as we're at trade shows, country fairs, what have you. So I went with the largest dimensions for a tunnel based from standards from the NMRA. So this one is set up to be able to handle the double stack container loads. So as I said, these I bet by volume it's twice the size of an old-time tunnel portal. You need the extra height for these out east. Read a lot of news for certain tunnels where they had the joy of trying to expand the tunnel while at the same time not delaying traffic. So that meant for 4-hour shifts at night, what have you, they would bore and then clean up for an hour, clear out, let built up traffic go through, and then they'd shut it down for another 4 hours and do the same routine. And then during the day, they pushed as much traffic through as they could, as well as reroute traffic. But the wait was worth it because it allowed them to go back to double stacks. Out east, there are a lot of places where if they're on a tunnel, they can only use the single level container loads. And, well, you're cutting your volume down by half. Now, my Fusion 360 is going to allow me to do anything. It's strange here. I'm sort of concerned about touching it right now. Okay, well, I can talk about what I want to do with this this front face. As I mentioned, in N scale, when it's at an arm's distance, it's very hard to see much detail at all. But I am going to put a large 2007 on here as, the start date for our club layout. The error I was talking about, if you can see, there's a curve here. It's coming in, and then I hit stretch down here, and that needs to be fixed up. It needs to come to the edge, the outer edge of the circle, and then straight down. So we'll be patching that up. On another model, I need a total of 6 tunnel portals. So, with the 6, 4 of those are paired tunnels. So I'll be experimenting with each tunnel portal, trying something different. And not only trying how I design it, but how I print it, how I slice it. So the other one, they did this, wasn't needed for concrete portal, but sometimes they molded into it a keystone. So we'll draw a keystone in there and raise it out by maybe 0.5 millimeter. And that's all I'm going to be lifting the letters by is 0.5 millimeter as well. But we have to make sure we get the right surface. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is should Fusion 360 update. I may have screwed it up. We'll see what's going on here. I may have to shut it down and reopen it. What I'm going to design, a lot of the tunnel portals you see from the side. So you're going to be able to see into some of the tunnel, but not the back side, just the front side. So on one side of the tunnel portal, I'm going to build, maybe print 3 inches or so of tunnel liner. I'll use black PLA for it, and it just hides the styrofoam that we're using to actually build our mountains out of. So I have not seen any changes to this. What happens if I try to kill it? Well, it went away, so instead, reopening. I don't know if I locked it on that screen or what happened there. So we'll wait. Now, the other thing I have to learn, is to use the slicer, the software provided by Prusa 3D. They've made great advances to it. And at the same time, first slicer I learned was Simplify 3D. It is very simple, very easy to use. Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, many people are reporting problems with it of late. And we don't know why. It doesn't look like the version's changed, but a common comment has been made. I've heard it within our 3D groups, but also from others, that slices they make today either won't print or garbage prints, where if you have the exact same model and you sliced it a couple of months ago, you get a beautiful print off of that. So even though there's been no change to the version number for Simply 3D, there's a slicing problem that's cropped in. And as I said, we don't know why. Simplify 3D is not getting very many updates now. And there's various rumors out there why this is happening. But at the same time, Slicer with the 3 is getting regular updates from Prusa Research. The only thing it's really lacking, I'm told, is being able to customize your supports, do manual supports to it. So if you don't have a need for manual support control, then you should be good with slicers. So I'm going to have to learn that. As I said, it's just been, I know the one, so it's easiest to go with what you know, but instead have to learn. So we are up and running. I'm told here that it is nicely updated. I'm not going to learn what changes are. We have our model here. Here's our front. Now, to fix this area here, come on. And right in this area here, I don't do it here. I don't use this part of the modeling area. I don't work with the object. What I work with, open this up, is sketches. And we have one sketch on here. So I'm going to turn off the bodies for a moment. Here's the sketch, and here's my error. So what I have to do is move this there. And make sure that that's lined up. Now, there is a wonderful tool here I should be using to make this automatic. And this is through constraints. Because if I want to constrain that, here's my constraints. Where do we want here? We want tangential. So tangential's this going to here. There. We now have a constraint on there. So now that I've done that, I can go and turn my bodies back on. That's the origins. Where'd my bodies go? Unit, origin, and scale tunnel. Let's move forward. Stop the sketch. Here's our body. And it's fixed. You can see the line. We have exactly what we need. I thought about getting the Dremel unit, but then doing all the research, decided to go with the original Prusa. And my daughter's on, this is only the second time in 3 weeks that it really has been printing overnight. And pretty much right out of the box, once it got put together, she's been doing 30 and 40 hour prints on it. And no concern, we've only had a few prints go bad, and they were my fault, not the printers. So I am looking forward to getting mine up and running. Anyways, here we have the tunnel portal. It is fixed, so that is ready to go. Make sure that we just get a save here. So that's looked after. Now, once again, I want to put on the date to it. So I'm going to create a new sketch, create a sketch, and I'm going to use the front surface for it. So that's the sketch plane for it. And what I'm going to add is text. And I can actually center it here. So, and the text will be I'm going to put spaces in here. There's my 2007. I'm looking at the wrong side. Text style. We will make it bold. I'll clean this up. And fonts. What I do have. No, that's. I wonder if they would use this sort of thing. I think they would. Okay. I'm looking at the wrong side. I have to make sure that it's going to come out on the right side. I need to flip this over. Explode text, copy. I need to rotate this. modify it. I'm looking at the wrong side. Let me see what it's like if I see which side I put it on. Okay, got the right surface. I'm not 100% certain why it is looking at. One of my learning points from before, trying to find the right angle to do this. This is a good one. You can see through it. When I started sketches, I was just taking a default, and it turned out the default was not the face I needed to be working on. So you can see it's actually stuck onto this face here and not this face. So when you start a sketch, it's best to figure out which face you're going to go on. Now, I do have it on the right face from where I want. Wonder if I can edit this. There's my sketch there. There's my text. Wondering how I can play with this within this. Okay, specify distance or angle. Set pivot point. That line and angle should be x-axis. Let's do 180. Selection, I have one selected. Move type. Oh, rotate. There we go. Axis. And nope. Not it. There. That's move copy. This is a rotate. Make sure I have the right item selected. Rotation axis. There's my axis. Let's do 90. And I'm not seeing anything happen. I put this right on my sketch. It's not a new sketch. So let's do some backspace over it. I want to there. I'm going to stop sketch there. So with the sketching, don't want to do that. I want to create a new sketch. And that's where I want to be. I think I've been rotating that, so sketch. I'm going to create a new sketch. Got a face. Create a sketch. As you can see, we can see me screwed up here. I'm credit, it's already 11 o'clock. I have to have a short day today, so I may not get this done. Let's try this again. But that's why I'm doing this stuff. I'm screwing up so you don't have to. Or let's cancel this. Let's stop the sketch. On this side, got that face. Let's see which way the text shows up here. Look at that. And font, I was on B&O. I was going to go bold, add some size to it. Height, I like the height of it. I'll center it up here. Good. And let's see what we got here. We got on the face. We got this exactly where I want. I'm just reversed. This is the back side of it. But, okay, we can live with that. Now I have this. I want to pull it out. And it's going to be one side. And I was only going to do 0.5 millimeter on this. Since we are, and it'll be a joint operation. Good. Now, question is, did that come out the way I expected it to? And did I just canceled that operation, so one object, profile plane, distance 0.5, and it's going to be a joint operation, no taper to it. Okay, do that. There. Now, once again, that's the only two changes I have. I've cleaned up the circle, and I now have a date on there. So that's all I really need. I'm not going to do anything, no fillets on this. This is such a small object. This is a slightly raised surface where I can just rub a little bit of paint on it to bring it out, and there'll just be some different gray to it. Let's see. One day, actually, I quite enjoy dealing with the kit because I have no problems doing anything with it now. And more importantly, Brenna has no problems doing anything with hers. After she built her printer, she built her computer. And that was just a box of parts. And actually, she found that to be a tougher job than actually building the printer. So she has a beautifully running computer and a beautifully running printer now. So I got to take this for just one moment. Richard here.
Hi, Richard. It's Wanda calling from PES.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Good, good.
Great. I'm just calling that form we filled out together yesterday.
Yes.
For your level of education, and there was just one spot we missed
Oh.
to fill out the. You said that you did your system theory diploma.
Yeah, I have a diploma from SAIT.
Okay. And where was that completed? What province?
Oh, that's in Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah, SAIT, which is in Calgary.
Okay. And what was the year completed?
89, 78, 78. Okay, let's see. 87, 88, because it was 80, 88, 89. So, yes, 89.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's all I needed.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Okay, take care.
Okay.
Bye. I was supposed to mute that. Oh, well. They just needed my date. I am waiting for a phone call. That's why I took it. Oh well. We have one condition to be lifted on our house sale, the last one, and that's supposed to happen sometime today. So that's what I'm waiting for. But this is another one that another project I'm dealing with. So, and they needed to know when I graduated from college, and that was, you heard me, 88. I took television production at exactly the right time. I was at SAIT for the 1988 Winter Olympics, which were held in Calgary. And the entire class, 2 years worth of television students, ended up in working on the Olympics in one manner or another. I happened to be with CTV National News. I was a gopher with them, which was great fun. Okay, back to this. We have this as, I'm going to save this as (2007) in scale tunnel portal. And I'm also going to go into make, and I'm not going to have it go to a print. We have this whole object here. It's just one object. So we got it here. We got to save. This will not be basic tunnel. This will be 2007 tunnel portal. And other than that, save. So we have an STL of that. Put that away. Just for this exercise, I'm going to put it into Simply 3D because I'll sit down, I'll learn how to use Slicer, and then you don't have to follow along for that. What's in the print bed right now is corner post, which is feet for the printer. Where did I put them? Right behind me. I'll get out of the way. The first of the lac tables. And so these are feet that will get printed out to hold the second level of lac so we can enclose the printer. I'm actually considering adding one more set just for storage reasons, i.e. storage of rolls and rolls of filament around here. So that's what is up on the screen right now. So I've printed those off, and maybe later today I'll get that lac table put together. I want to do that because I'm going to be by IKEA on the weekend if I need another part. So I don't need this anymore, so I'll remove it. I want to import a new file. This is back into 3D printing models and trains and scale tunnel portal. Here's the 2007 portal, and there it is. Now this one, last time I actually laid it down, and I want to see I don't know if you can see this, but when I look at this, it's not level on there. That must be my design issue. I'm going to have to look at that. But not right now. I want to print one of these upright. But I think for the sake of the exercise, I am just going to see what it's like. This will be a test. The best way to print this, if you want to do it upright, would be flip it over so it was upside down. So you don't have to worry about any support for these. But for the purpose of this exercise and to see the printer, I'm going to leave it like this. So I'm going to have limited contact here. So I'm probably going to add a little bit of brimming to it. edition, skirt rim layers. There, I'm just going to add a couple to it. Layered self infill 25 PLA, straightforward. There's nothing else I really need to worry about here. So it's a straightforward print, and leaving everything else standard. We'll see how this looks. And there it is with its tool path. Should be good. You can see down here this is the rim that I added. That should work. So what we're going to do is just save this. The mistake I keep making is I keep forgetting to change the folder I save it to. So I save I saved the G code, and then I have to go hunting for where on earth I saved it to. Once again, I put down I'm slicing this for PLA. Save. And that is done. So, next thing to do is dump that to the card. And we got a file there. We will just do a transfer of this file onto the card. And wrong one. There we go. Into models, trains, tunnel portal, 2000 portal G code, and let send this over to the card. Done. We have it. So we will print from SD and 2007 tunnel portal, and the bed is heating, and we can continue on with that. So I do have the camera set up for it. Oh, what I should do is I haven't, I don't recall what's the last thing done in this picture. I keep some alcohol in a spray bottle. It just makes my life easier. I've used this for years for various things. When you're building the layout, it breaks down surface tension nicely. When you're doing scenery work, I use a trackball when I'm on the computer, and those trackballs actually act up. And what happens is they actually get gunk inside. In my case, it's quite often food or cat hairs or dog hairs. Don't know where they come from. But we just pop out the ball, clean it up, and you're up and running. You know, hit it with the Q-tip a little bit. So the one other project I have coming up, I want to get my printer up and running first, and that is to have the Raspberry Pi. I have a Raspberry Pi here with a camera, so I need to make the brackets for it. Once I have the enclosure set up, I can measure the exact distances needed for the camera, because the camera will be attached to the print bed, so we can do time lapse from the print bed. So that's a print that is will be coming up soon. So looking forward to getting that done. This is interesting. There we go. Oh, okay, it breaks it into two. Okay, I haven't actually paid attention to the screens much. Getting used to the way the screen works, where I didn't realize it preheated the heat bed before it started out with the print head. So, anyways, you got the fan printed up there. I'm just going to let this get started, and we'll see if those feet stick. And then that's about all I'm going to do for today. As I said, I have to go pick up the fellow. It's a young firefighter who's going to help me haul dirt into the gardens and get that running, get some stuff into the ground, get things growing. I started tomatoes actually by slicing some overripened tomatoes, putting them under about half inch of dirt, just seeing what will happen. And I ended up with all sorts of tomato plants. So I repotted them yesterday. Looks like they're all going to hang in there. Some look kind of wilted right now. Some look like they're roaring to go. So if it works, great. I have a whole bunch of free tomatoes. If not, didn't cost me anything. But anyways, have to look after that sort of stuff. I have grapevines out there as well, and there's a limited period of time for working with those. The one thing about the lac enclosures I've been warned about is they actually are noisier because it's basically putting it on an acoustical board. We will be putting some matting underneath the actual printer, but the other thing is it won't be sitting right beside me, so that will help. So where my printer has been failing was on these back points. It could not locate them. You get an XYZ error. I'll show off another thing I did too. This, even though it looks like it's the base of a computer chip from the Cyberdyne Industries on the Terminator, but it is a single height print, single layer print, and it is a test of your entire print bed. Make sure it's calibrated across the bed. So very handy print tool, and showed me that, okay, we got that far, we got that working, and then these other problems crept up. So that was a handy print tool. Anyways, we're off to the races there. It's printing away. Not much to see from this angle. I think I got enough cable. Do I have enough cable with this camera? Get it over here. There. Not really from that, so we'll just skip this camera for the moment. We'll let it print. Anyways, Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. As soon as I get information, I'll add it down below. Who's hosting it? I think it's been a bit of a scrounge for this week. Once again, I think it's due to the fact that it's spring. We will get that going. Yes, printing on the upright. See how it goes. The other thing I haven't done with Brenda's printer, I have here on my desk. I had on my desk before I clean things up. Don't know where they are now. Oh, there we go. Couple of things. Here's a 0.4 millimeter hard nozzle, which we'll need for the exotics, which I plan on doing a lot of work with. And this is a 0.25. So that's another nozzle I'm looking forward to using. And I don't see it here. I have a full spectrum of nozzles right down to 0.15. Now, the 0.15, it's like you're in a whole new printing world with that, so I'm told. So I'm looking forward to learning that. I want to make sure everything else is up and running nicely before I try fooling with that one. But the 0.25 I'll get into fairly soon. The stuff that Brenda's going to be doing with her printer, really the 0.4 will cover a lot of what she needs. But it's my modeling where I have to get down smaller. Anyways, thanks for hanging in there. All the addresses are across the bottom. My website, the new site, did go live on Sunday, so zidim.com. You have links there to my Songology channel. That comes from when I was hosted the morning show on our local community radio station, CIDO. And that is our Song of the Day segments where my friend Bruce and I go in and look at the exact fine details behind the various songs in his collection. He just loves trivia. So, you want to learn about the music, learn the stories behind the music, head over to Songology. So you'll find that on the homepage from Zidim.com. The link to my railroad site, PBRR, is on there as well. And I started off HO, and part of my PBR will stay HO, but I'm just moving into the OM30 for it. And the other thing I brought back last weekend, we'll be getting more this weekend, is my LGB stuff, so I can be doing work outside. So all that you find off zidim.com. I haven't built the 3D page yet. I will get on that maybe this afternoon too. I'm also on Facebook, Zidim17, or 3D Printing for Model Trains is the more common site. Twitter, follow me there, Zidim17. And if you're feeling generous, head over to Patreon at Zidim17 as well. So we'll see you Wednesday. I'll try to get a Sunday update. I'll be from my phone again. And I'll be back next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And hopefully with a working printer on my side. Have a good afternoon. Bye.